Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And actually, this will be the last episode for the entire year. It's hard to believe that the year's gone by this fast, but, next time you all hear from me, it will be 2023. So, with that, first off, thank you all for spending 2022 with me. I greatly appreciate you all. Hopefully, you all stick around for 2023 as well. But either way, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And, of course, be safe out there over the weekend. However, we do have several things to get into today, as one of Xbox's premier 2023 exclusives did get a re-reveal and further cemented itself with a solidified release window. I know some people have been a little bit concerned about this one, but we will get into that today, as well as a new leaked Nintendo Switch console. I don't necessarily think that this will come off as a major surprise, but if you're on the market for a new Switch, you might want to just go ahead and hold up for just a brief moment. Before we get into any of that, though, let's just go and dive right into our first topic of the day, being about Xbox Games with Gold. They did announce its first lineup for 2023, and right away, it's starting about as good as it left off in 2022. In other words, it's not very good. Listen, I can sugarcoat things and act like they're doing an okay job with Games with Gold, but I try to be real with you all here. And Games with Gold has been a very lackluster service for quite a while. We'll come back to that here in just a second, but as you can see here, they announced two games, being Iris Fall and then Autonauts. They note that this will save you roughly $40 if you were to buy them yourself, and you will be able to download Iris Fall from January 1st to the 31st, whereas Autonauts will be available from January 15th to February 15th. So do kind of keep that in mind if you're interested in either one of these titles. And I will say that Iris Fall, it looks somewhat interesting. This is a puzzle adventure game where light and shadow plays a role. It actually has a pretty interesting concept, and it does sport in an attractive art style. It kind of gives me some of those Alice in the Wonderland vibes, so it might be worth a try at the very least. Now, as for Autonauts, this is more of a base building type of game. They describe it by saying you find uninhabited planets and transform them. Starting with the absolute basics of harvesting sticks and stones, you'll begin your foundation. Eventually, you can move up to build worker bots, who in turn can help you build more after you hone their artificial intelligence. So, I mean, I don't think that these games look terrible or anything. I think that there will be people out there that will enjoy these overall experiences, but them being the only two games for a paid subscription service, it's just not what you're hoping for. It's just become more and more evident that Games with Gold has become an afterthought to something like Xbox Game Pass. Now, that's understandable to an extent because, well, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. I mean, I constantly hype that up on the channel because it really is. I love Game Pass. But meanwhile, you have Xbox Live Gold, and it's really just become the exact opposite. And consumers, they know that. They can feel that this service is lackluster. Now, with that said, I know a lot of people speculate on whether or not Xbox would just get rid of it completely. But honestly, I don't think that they will. See, the reason I say that is because as of this moment, the reason to own Xbox Live Gold is not for its games, but rather for its online play, which is what it originally was in the first place. That's what Microsoft is selling you. Games with Gold really is just an extra benefit that has turned lackluster over time. So the problem here is that there's not an easy way for them to get rid of Xbox Live Gold unless they want to make online multiplayer completely free. Now, that would be great for consumers and everything. I'd personally love that myself. But for a company that's made a lot of money for online play, pretty much since the inception of Xbox, I'm not really sure that makes business sense for them to completely get rid of it unless it just completely tanks over time as more people move over to Xbox Game Pass. Not everybody, though, wants to pay more than that $60 entry fee for those online features that you can get in Xbox Live Gold. I mean, even PlayStation and Nintendo charges for online play now. They just seem to do a better job with their lower tiers, whereas Xbox, they seem to do a better job with their premium tiers, being, of course, Xbox Game Pass. So, yeah, it is what it is, but Games with Gold has definitely become an afterthought for Microsoft. Next up, we got an update for an upcoming PlayStation 5 exclusive, being Rise of the Ronin. This game was revealed earlier this year at one of their State of Plays and has seemingly impressed a lot of people, myself included. I think this game looks absolutely fantastic. It is a Team Ninja game after all, the same studio behind games like Nioh and Ninja Gaiden. Both of those are excellent, of course. Rise of the Ronin, though. This game, though, seems a little bit more similar to Assassin's Creed. And I think that's a very interesting combo. Team Ninja's expertise with hack-and-slash combat mixed with some of Assassin's Creed elements, that could actually be a pretty amazing combo. When will we get to play this game, though? That is the question here, and some eagle-eyed fans noticed that in Famitsu's yearly New Year questions for creators, the Rise of the Ronin director said this: "Production on Rise of the Ronin, which I am directing, is entering its climax, so I will be giving it my all." So that has caused some eager fans to believe it might actually be releasing sooner than what we originally thought. Though, even with this statement, do keep in mind that they've already announced it is planned for a 2024 release. Do not expect this game to come out in 2023. So that's already out in the open. But I think with him saying it's entering its climax, that could actually point to an early 2024 release. And looking at Team Ninja's history, that actually makes more sense than what you might realize. See, looking back at some of their most recent AAA releases, you have Neo, which released back in February of 2017, Neo 2, that released in March of 2020, Final Fantasy Origin, they did work on that game as well with Square Enix, that released in March of 2022, and then we have Wolong releasing on March 3rd of 2023. So they do seem to like Q1 releases, and yeah, I'd say with that, Rise of the Ronin might continue with that trend in 2024. Alright, so we also got a re-reveal for one of Xbox's most anticipated games this generation thus far, being Stalker 2. There's been a lot of talk about this game pretty much since it was first announced. The original Stalker games were very popular PC titles known for their immersive worlds and atmosphere. I mean, really, they are among the most atmospheric games ever made. And there's hope that the sequel, with all of the power that modern technology can afford, it not only can recapture that, but it can also make for an even more surreal experience. The thing about this game, though, is that unfortunately, it has seen some unforetold issues due to what's happening over in the Ukraine. The studio GSC World was originally located in Ukraine, and even after they relocated, not all the developers came along. Some did stay in Ukraine and fight. So first off, before we even get started, I am rooting for this studio. I wish them and all of the people that's worked there, now and before, I wish them the absolute best. I am definitely rooting for this studio. As for the game itself, though, with some of the problems that they faced, without a doubt, that has impacted its development and has caused it to be pushed into 2023. There, however, was a concern from some fans out there that it was either going to get canceled or instead delayed beyond 2023. But they've kind of laid those rumors to rest today with their most recent gameplay reveal. This new trailer was posted up by IGN, and in the description it clearly says it will be available in 2023 on PC and as a console exclusive on Xbox Series X and S. It will also launch into Xbox Game Pass on day one. So, yeah. There you have it. They are further confirming its 2023 release window, and they also confirmed that in the trailer as well. So fret not, Stalker 2 absolutely appears that it will release sometime in 2023. Let's go and talk about the gameplay, though, because this really is our first in-depth look at its gameplay. So there's a lot to kind of go over here, and I do have some different takeaways about this particular reveal. So let's just go and start off with the good. First, if you're hoping that we will get another immersive, atmospheric experience, I don't think that this trailer is going to let you down. It looks absolutely fantastic with them making use of its environment and different visual effects. They use wind, they use fog and smoke just absolutely brilliantly, really setting the tone here. And it's got some beautifully crafted and sometimes ominous environments. I think from a visual standpoint alone, with all the effects that we're seeing in this game, and actually with the character models itself, Stalker 2 so far looks striking. You want that next generation experience in terms of graphical fidelity? Stalker 2 seems to have that. I think that part of the game is nothing short of impressive. As for its gameplay, though, I think on one side, it does look good. But there is a noticeable caveat here. While the gameplay itself as a first-person shooter looks good, it's also easy to see that those amazing visuals have impacted its performance. There does appear to be some frame rate issues in this gameplay reveal. Now, to be fair, with most games anymore, they do have several game modes. So it is completely possible here that Stalker 2 has a performance mode that fixes these issues. Something that we do see frequently when it comes to gameplay reveals is that developers often like to showcase graphics first and foremost. They really want to wow people with that visual fidelity. So they might be playing it on its graphics mode where frame rate might not necessarily be perfect. There's also a strong possibility that any frame rate issues that we see early on could actually be fixed up by the time of its launch. Stalker 2, after all, is still in development. That's always very, very important to keep in mind. I mean, just look at Sonic Frontiers as an example. That was an IGN first game that we saw earlier this year. And to be frank, its debut, it wasn't good. But by the time that game launched, outside of its pop-in problems, it was a good overall experience. I very much enjoyed that game myself. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So with that in mind, a lot can change by the time this game launches. But I think when it comes to the gameplay alone and with its atmosphere, Stalker 2 so far seems to be living up to its hype. It does look very, very good. It's also nice to see that 2023 release window further be solidified. I just hope that they take the time to really reach this game's potential, because this could end up being a special game. Now, we also have a possible leak to talk about today for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Of course, we talked about that promo yesterday that put front and center as Nintendo Switch Online functionality, for whatever that means. But now another leaked image has appeared online. It's almost as if this game is right around the corner. Not that Nintendo wants us to know. We're still waiting for that Zelda blowout. But this new supposed leak is for a new Nintendo Switch OLED Zelda Tears of the King themed console. I'll go ahead and include the image here so you can see it for yourself, and at first glance, this looks like it could possibly be legit. At the same time, though, and I always think it's very important to keep this in mind, there's no 100% certainty. So as with any unconfirmed rumors, it's always best to take this image with a grain of salt until officially confirmed. At the same time, though, even if this image isn't legit, is it all that hard to believe that Nintendo is maybe putting together a special themed console for arguably one of their biggest releases for the entire generation? I mean, Nintendo has increasingly done these special edition consoles as of recent. I mean, they just did an OLED model for both Splatoon 3 and then also Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be shocked if they do the same with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Will it be this design? Who really knows? But I will say this much. If you are on the market for a new Switch OLED console, which I would highly recommend myself, if you are a handheld first player, it is a big upgrade over that standard edition. I'm telling you, the OLED model is a night and day difference. So if you are looking for a new Switch console, and if you like Zelda, I'd say it might be worth holding off for just a bit to maybe see if they officially announce a Tears of the Kingdom themed console. Now, with that said, it will likely be a little bit more expensive. Their previous special edition OLED model consoles have been $360, though that's only $10 more, so not really bad at all. And with any special edition item, the resale value will be higher over time. Like I said yesterday, though, really what we need right now is just to get a Zelda Tears of the Kingdom blowout. But if these leaks are indeed true, it sounds like that might actually be maybe sooner rather than later. We can only hope. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, if you have Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Extra Premium, do you still buy games? And the results here were very interesting because, as you can see here, 29% of you said yes, about the same as before, 5% of you said yes, more than before, 49% of you said yes, but less than before, then 8% of you said no, while 9% of you said you don't have either subscription. So, absolutely, the majority of you all do still buy games, but interestingly enough, most of you actually buy less than before. Now, the thing is that Xbox, they have put results out in the past stating that their subscribers, they actually play 30% more games across 40% more genres. They spend 20% more time playing games, and they also spend 20% more on gaming just in general. So that's actually quite interesting, considering most of you will actually buy less games when you have a subscription. So I thought that was a little bit interesting there. Nonetheless, though, I do fall into the category where I probably spend about the same as I did before. I buy games that interest me day one. If it's not in a service, no problem at all. I mean, this service has already saved me a ton of money. I'm just going to go and put that money into another game that I'm really, really interested in. I'll tell you this, though, the one thing that Xbox Game Pass has done for me is that it's just introduced me to so many games that I might have missed otherwise. That there is the thing that I love about Xbox Game Pass so much. I mean, you take a look at something like High on Life. It didn't review well. I was able to try it out myself anyways. Turned out to be great. There was games like Ghost Song and Signals that released into Game Pass here recently. Those games are great. And thanks to Game Pass, I was able to try them out. So that's the thing that I kind of love about Xbox Game Pass so much. I mean, you have games like Starfield coming to the service day one, and that's amazing because it saves you money. But I already knew about that game, and I was probably going to play it one way or the other. It saves me money, yes, but it's those games that come to the service that, you know, that weren't necessarily on my radar, and then I checked them out thanks to Game Pass. That to me is what really makes this service so special. Not only is it saving you money, but it also introduces you to all of these new games. It, however, is very interesting seeing the results here, as it looks like a lot of you all just flat out save on a lot of money. Always nice to see. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.